All right, we are live with the Combatcast, and we're going to talk about last week's UFC Fight Night, and we're going to talk about this week's Sandhagen and Figueiredo, and also we'll maybe talk a little around the ring. Guys, please subscribe if you're watching this and you haven't already and you like what you see. Before we get into the show, Chevy, why don't we tell people what we got coming up too?
All right, May 10th, UFC 315, Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena, 10 p.m. from Montreal. Canada is always a pretty rowdy crowd, so that one should be good. And then May 17th, UFC Fight Night, Burns versus Morales, 7 p.m. from the Apex. Poor Gilbert Burns fighting killers and getting stuck in the Apex. Bummer for him. And then there are no fights on May 24th. I believe that's Memorial Day weekend or something. So, but we'll be reviewing the previous fight card, Burns and Morales. We can talk about how much we don't like the Apex.
Absolutely. All right. Let's discuss what's going on around the ring. And the only thing I wanted to bring up today was officially made. Dustin Poirier's final fight versus Max Holloway coming up. Oh man, I want to say it's in July at some point.
I think the end of June.
Gets it right in his hometown too.
Yeah.
Cool experience for him. A great way to go out against a great opponent with a great fighting style. He has a great record. He's 2-0 against Max. I don't think 3 times the charm, though. I think it is for Max. I think Max will probably win that. We'll talk about that as we get closer, but what are your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah. I know it's not exactly what Dustin was looking for, someone he's already beaten twice. I know he wanted to fight Ilya, he wanted to fight Gaethje because him and Gaethje were 1-1. That one probably would have been the one that made the most sense. But, the UFC knows Max is game to always put on a good fight. This is for the BMF belt, so Dustin could win and retire with the belt. Yeah, and also like Max and Dustin are cool. Like they're very respectful of one another. So, and the last fight they put on was great. So, this one I'm with you. I think it'll be a little bit different. Max has shown when he fought Gaethje that given the time to put the weight on at 155, he hits a little bit different, which I don't think was the case the last time. So, I'm looking forward to it, even though I definitely don't want either guy to lose. But
yeah. I'm with you. So should be a good fight. I think Max will win this time. Could be a decision, could be a finish. Who knows? And you never know. Poirier is going to be in his home crowd. He's going to be rowdy. He'll be looking to get this. He'll be on his game. So we'll see what happens. But fun fight, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the card unfolds. All right, this past weekend, UFC Fight Night. Chevy, you didn't get a chance to watch this. Ian Gary versus Carlos Prates. Prates, thank you. Yes. So you were away, so I'll do a little heavy lifting here. The co-main event. I'm doing heavy
Ming Yang Zhang.
Ming Yang Zhang, thank you.
Versus Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith. Ming Yang Zhang. He put that work on him early. Round 1, great elbows. He was hitting him with elbows, opened him up. Smith was a bloody mess. And not much to say here. Ming Yang gets round 1 TKO finish. It's quite a sight, though. There was some fan that was antagonizing Anthony Smith, and they were in Nebraska, and he's from Nebraska, and you just see him blood, and he's giving this guy the finger.
After he just got beat up, he's trying to start stuff with the crowd. And
Big Yang was like, "Easy, brother, don't do this."
That's a classless move from that fan, by the way. Wearing Nebraska shirt in Anthony's hometown, whatever.
Yeah,
and then. Well, I mean, he's hometown, but Nebraska. Yeah. And then just flipping him off after he just got TKO'd and retired. Like,
right.
Don't be a piece of shit, But
anyway, great video tribute the UFC set up for Anthony Smith. You said they probably would have one going. You were right. Nice job. I had Jelly Roll there talking about how Anthony Smith is one of his favorite fighters, which I know he is. And Yeah, I know. I remember that from before when Joey Roll showed up, but it had a great song. It fit for Anthony Smith, and it worked out. And I thought he was funny. He's like, I did that shit. So good on Anthony. He'll be great in the booth. And hey, all things considered, although he wasn't a champion in the UFC, he had a fairly good career. Not many people have as many fights or have got to fight for the title like he has when you think about how many people compete in MMA. So good on him.
Right, and he did fight for a title and could have won the title from John Jones via disqualification and basically didn't puss out, and good sportsmanship on his part. Wish he didn't do that, in fact, and took the title from John Jones. But he's a real man, and he did what he should have done. So good on him. But yeah, good career. Definitely a salty record, but he's been doing it a really long time. Just loads and loads of fights. Yeah, he has like over 50 fights. So
I think it's something I heard when I was younger. Someone talking about in MMA. If you're undefeated at this point, you're probably fighting the wrong people. Is what somebody said early on. Now I think you try to protect the fighter, but I get what they're saying. Just Anthony Smith fought like everybody.
Yeah. There's no dodging anyone, even on the regional scene. He had tons of fights before he came to the UFC. So,
Ian Gary defeats Carlos Prates. Prates fighting nerds. We called this one. We said that Ian Gary would probably just a little higher level MMAQ against one of the fighting nerds, which we know like the fighting nerds have been awesome, and they're all about MMA IQ. Their game plans have been. Everybody in that team has been on fire. This gym has been on fire. So, but Ian Gary's a big step up. And we're just seeing the way he fought, like just the way he's beaten people like Neil Magny, and the way his only loss being to Shavkat on short notice, where he fought a really close fight. Now, I will say, to Patrice's credit here, he never worn down. And that was something we wonder about. Is in round 4 or 5 how he's going to be. Opposite, he came on strong in round 5, and he was really putting it on him. And I know Gary, kind of played it off, but I mean, it was I don't know. I'm not saying that he would have got the finish, but it was interesting with those last 20, 30 seconds or whatever it was in that fight. And he caught him a little bit at the end of round 4 too, but that was super towards the end of the round. So either way, great showing by Ian Gary. Prates, he'll be back. But Ian Gary's got a 3-fight plan. He said he's the backup fight for the upcoming welterweight championship fight. And he's believing, he's going to manifest it, that he'll end up fighting Bilal for the title. He thinks he'll win that. And he thinks Islam Makhachev is going to come up, and he thinks he'll win that. And then he thinks he'll fight Shavkat again and try to avenge that loss. I don't know if any of this is going to happen, but I do find it interesting that much like Conor McGregor, he tries to talk a lot of these things into existence. He manifests it. To me right now, he's almost like Conor McGregor without all the drugs and the alcohol. So we'll see how it works out.
Conor wasn't on all the drugs and the alcohol at this point in his career. So don't worry, Ian Gary can get there. Stick with it, champ.
Yes. So that's about it. Anything else? I mean, I know you didn't really see it. Was there anything you heard you want to cover, or are we good with this card?
No, I'm good with this card, I think.
So am I. All right, let's get to it. Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. Should be a fun fight here. Before we get into main event, co-main event, any fights on this card? Got your eye.
Yeah, prelims, Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. I'm a fan of Jillian Robertson.
Yes.
Rodriguez, too. It's a top 15 strawweight fight. And then Yana Santos, formerly Yanis Kunitskaya, but that's Thiago Santos' wife, PFL fighter, is fighting Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate's back after a year off. That's a top 15 fight as well. And then on the undercard, Jeremy Stevens is making his return.
Yeah.
This is in Des Moines, Iowa. So he's from Iowa. So he's fighting Mason Jones. Mason Jones, a minus 440 favorite. We saw Jeremy go to bare knuckle and I think he got 2 wins, and then he's come back. But I think he lost like 6 or 7 fights in the UFC before leaving. So I assume that's where that betting line comes from. But I'm rooting for him, obviously. And then also on the undercard, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez D-Rod, guaranteed to be a fun fight.
I was looking at the time of this card because I was like, this looks like a fun fight, but it's a 10 p.m. main card, so I'll be watching this the next morning probably.
I will see. We'll see if I can make it. I'm planning on trying to stay up to watch this one for sure, but 10 p.m. is late for your boys, so we will see.
Yeah,
but
10 p.m. on a fight night card too, where there's a lot more commercials. It's just
yeah. But
so
let's get into this co-main event. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yes.
This kind of snuck up on me here. Reiner De Ridder, number 13, is taking on Bo Nickal, trying to break into that top 15.
RDR, Reiner De Ridder. He is 19-2, 4 KOs, 13 subs, 2 decisions. This guy was a 2 weight class champion for 1 championship. He was their middleweight. He had 2 successful title defenses, and he was a light heavyweight champion. And so far in the UFC, he's 2-0. He's got 2 submission wins, one over Jared Morshot and the other one over Kevin Holland. So he's gone about his UFC career the right way as far as I'm concerned. After taking some time off from 1 championship, he's coming in. He's not just trying to fight the biggest fight he can. He's fighting guys, to work his way up. And now he's got an interesting one here. Bo Nickal. 7-0. 4 subs, 2 KOs, 1 decision. Now, RDR has a lot more experience than Bo in MMA fights. His style kind of plays into Bo Nickal a little bit too. He likes to sub, so he likes to take it to the ground. He's still got a lot more MMA experience, but Bo is constantly improving. He looks like the prodigy whenever we see him. He's super tough. It's an interesting fight because I don't know what the odds are on this, but part of me feels like, De Ridder is the favorite here in a lot of ways in my mind, because I think even though I don't consider much of a stand-up fighter from what I've seen, I feel that limited experience in stand-up might be better than what Bo has, though, to the table. I've seen Bo take people out, but Bo hasn't fought this many times at this higher level. So
now this is like his 8th fight.
Yeah.
Ever.
So my head is kind of, something tells me like, go RDR here. But I refuse to get off this Bo Nickal hype train just yet. I don't know what it is. So I think we're going to have a lot of scrambles. I can see Bo losing a decision here, but something tells me he's going to find a way to win this. And the fact that RDR is probably going to openly grapple with him is going to be the downfall here. And I think that Nickal, although it may get caught off guard, I think we'll find a way to win this. I'll go submission round 2.
This can be an interesting fight if RDR manages to get on top of Bo or take his back in one of the scrambles you were talking about, but that should not happen. Yes, RDR is this great grappler over in 1 championship and everything, but they don't have the elite level wrestling in that organization that Bo Nickal brings. UFC doesn't really have the elite level wrestling that Bo Nickal brings. So Bo should just go in, shoot for a takedown in the first 10 seconds, which RDR will probably flop to guard anyway. And then he should smash him. So, Bo should be looking for a statement win as early and as dominant as possible. No testing his stand-up, no going for octagon time, just a quick, violent, decisive finish. I don't know if he's actually going to do that, but that's what I'm rooting for. So I'm going to say Bo, TKO, ground and pound, dominant finish in round 1.
So where I'm a little hesitant, but I think RDR's style is going to be his downfall. You're out like very good. Like that's going to be his downfall. He's going to play right into Nickal's hands here.
Yeah, I just think from what I've seen from Bo lately or so far, he knows and he respects jiu-jitsu, unlike some wrestlers. And, I almost am worried that he wants to test his submission skills against RDR. I don't think he should do that. He's a great grappler in the wrestling portion of grappling, where, you're controlling where the fight goes, and he should just get on top of him and smash him relentlessly with elbows. No more fooling around. And yes, you can grow your game and all that, but this is going to get you into the top 15. You're, a few fights away from a title.
Mm-hmm.
Just do what you do best. These other guys, they shouldn't be able to stop him from getting on top and smashing them. So even at the top level, he should be doing this anyway. So you don't really need to, I know the days of the specialist are kind of over.
Yeah.
Bo might be the exception to that. You want to be well-rounded, but you should be using what makes you special. So
brought you to the dance.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move on from that fight, which I'm very excited about, to another fight, which I'm very excited about. The main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo.
Figueiredo is 24-4-1, 9 KOs, 9 subs, 6 decisions. He's a former UFC flyweight champion, a 2-time former UFC flyweight champion. He's had successful title defenses. He has the fastest title fight turnaround in UFC history, 21 days. So, he's a stud. He's tied Brandon Moreno for third most fights in UFC flyweight division history. Fight of the night 3 times, performance of the night 1 time. He's just credentialed when it comes to flyweight. Bantamweight, he's been good. But, Cory Sandhagen is also like right there. Both these guys, I feel like, are just beneath that tippy toe top in the UFC bantamweight division. But
they are ranked number 4 and 5, so I think that's a accurate ranking for them currently.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Who's ranked number 4?
Cory.
Yeah, that's what I think should be. Okay. Which is going to tip my hand here. But anyway, Cory Sandhagen, 17-5, 7 KOs, 3 subs, 7 decisions. Fight of the night twice, performance of the night twice. Second fastest flying knee finish in UFC history. So watch out for that, Davidson. Davidson's got a hell of a chin, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll just get taken out, but ground and pounder submission, maybe. Figueiredo is always dangerous. He's got great power, whether it's flyweight or bantamweight, and I could definitely see him catching Cory with something, because Cory, he'll bring it to you. He's great with scrambling and stuff like that, but I don't see it happening. I could, but I don't see it happening. I think Sandhagen is constantly making adjustments, and I think he's just a step better, maybe a step or 2 better than Deiveson Figueiredo, and I expect him to win this. I expect him to win this with ground and pound, actually, as the fight goes on. I'm going to go late in the round 3.
Yeah, Deiveson has powerful striking, strong grappling, but I'm with you. I don't see him finishing Cory in either dimension of the fight. Cory is so good at mixing it all together. He's so well-rounded. He gives you so many looks with his feints, and he's comfortable anywhere the fight goes. Great scrambles. He's tall for the division, especially against Figueiredo, who, was a flyweight. Cory would never make flyweight. And he's explosive, as you could say, with the flying knee. And he also has a pretty good chin. So in a decision, which is likely goes all 5 rounds, I think Cory makes it look pretty easy. I don't think he's going to finish him, but I think he wins all 5 rounds. So I'm going to pick Cory by decision.
All right, shut up. All right, why don't we tell people what we got coming up one more time?
All right, May 10th, UFC 315, Muhammad versus Della Maddalena from Montreal. And then May 17th, UFC Fight Night, Burns versus Morales. And then May 24th, we'll be reviewing that UFC Fight Night, Burns versus Morales.
All right, guys. Don't forget, enjoy this weekend's fight night, Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will be here next week, and we'll see you at the fights.